coward. We have a new world to conquer. You make me sick.
Leave me alone, please.
Hiding in the shadows. Hiding from who you truly are.
Oh.
You can't escape yourself.
Alright, what's good, internet? I'm just a guy, and today this Lucci list actually might look really familiar to you. If you know a thing or two about some of the people who have topped recently, I just want to show you really quick. This is the fellow who topped with the list. We love him. His name is OP10 Grinder. He just top 32'd at Peoria. I believe this was about a little over a week ago. And this was his deck list. I'm not playing his list in particular. I do want to go over it just like a little bit, and then I want to show you my list, how I changed it, and then I'm going to show you a couple of replays with it, alright? Because people think that Lucci is dead post BANLIST, and Elijah and myself and a few others are here to prove to you that Lucci is in fact still here to stay. So let's take a look at Lucci.
Die, you motherfucker!
So this is his list. I'm just going to run over the card by card really quickly, and then I'm going to show you the couple of changes that I made, and then we'll look at the games, all right? So first of all, Lucci leader, of course. We're playing 2 Spandine, 4 Brook, 4 Laboon, 4 Kuzan, 1 Kobe, 4 Khalifa, 2 of the GOAT Sabo, 1 Mansherry, 4 Rebecca, 4 Rob Lucci, the other GOAT, 3 Jack, 4 Who's Who, 3 Hina, 4 Uta, 2 Shigun, aka Finger Gun or aka Finger Pistol, and then of course 4 Tempest Kick. No more Gecko Moria, and of course no more Ice Age. I almost forgot the name of the card. So this was his list. The few things that I want to touch on are Uta, Kobe, and I think those are really it. Those are like the only like whoa crazy cards. Some people might argue that like they're not playing Jack anymore or they're only playing 1. I think that Jack is here to stay. I think this card is insane. People are going to invest a lot of resources into the card, but mainly Uta. Like people only played 1 at most of this card previously. I think now it is mandatory because the theory behind this list is you are not playing, play Gecko, play Ice Age, play Tempest Kick, play Gecko, win the game. You're not doing any of that. We still have like Rebecca, Hina, Spandine, Lucci kind of combos. We can still do all that, but a lot of it is getting as much value as possible from each individual card. And we still have some space to play 1 of tech cards, like Kobe, for example, where he is an oh shit or an emergency button. So basically you could go Rebecca, add back, and play Kobe from your hand, pitch another card, kill a 3 or less. So he's like a pseudo Jack in a sense, but also a Brook with more reach. So I don't love Kobe. I don't hate him. I think he was a great idea and he was really good for the day. And I could see him being played again in the future. However, I did decide to cut him. I'm only going to show you my most recent version. This is what I pivoted to. So I cut the Kobe and I cut the 2 Finger Pistols. I traded out the Kobe for 1 Kaido. And I traded out the Finger Pistols for 2 Kuzans. Basically, the general idea for why I did the swaps is because I wanted big bodies that have reach, right? So Kaido and Kuzan both say kill big dudes, whether it be on play or an activate main. He's basically on play, but both of them have a lot of tempo because now they have to spend a lot of resources outing these big bodies, and if they can't, then I win. These are basically finishers, right? The worst part about these cards is that they're not searchable or recurable unless you get to the bottom of your deck and you can put them there with like Mansherry or like Lucci. But regardless, these are just your big bombs, and you really only want to play 1 of these in the course of a game. But generally, the rest of the deck is the same. I don't think I actually changed anything else. It was just those 3 cards. So let's take this. We're gonna hop into the sim. Some of these games are ranked. I think 1 or 2 of them were not ranked, but that doesn't really matter for what we're trying to do here today. I'm mostly just trying to show you the general idea and how the deck is supposed to function. I believe the first game I'm going to show you is a rogue matchup The second and third game are going to be more higher tier or really well positioned decks in the format. And if you would like to see more of this kind of video, let me know. So anyways, let's take a look at the games. Let's have a look with Lucci. Alright, so the first game that we're going to take a look at, my opponent's playing Nico Robin. They won the die roll and they chose to go first. And we kept our hand, if I'm not mistaken. So let's take a look. I'm actually going to put this on 2x speed, because otherwise we're going to be here forever. So I kept this hand, I drew into a Tempest Kick, and I lead out with Uta on 2 Dawn, and I think their goal is just to swing big and make sure I don't have any kind of card advantage, because my life does not go to my hand anymore. They actually hit a Brook, which is so good for me, because I didn't really have any good ways to KO, so I swing 5, and my plan was just to play Kuzan here, because if you can play Kuzan, you play Kuzan.
The best card in the deck, alright? I'm going to talk about this card for maybe 30 minutes. Yeah. This card, you put it on the table, and your opponent's brain breaks.
Played Kuzan, drew a card, I drew into, I believe, another Hina, passed. They played Nico Robin, I'm now down to 3 life already, so I figured, okay, gotta play a little defensive counter out of it. I pitched the Spandine, because I can't really pitch anything else. The Khalifa is a 2k, and Rebecca is too good. So I'm immediately gonna kill this Nico Robin. It's so good that we milled that Brook off life, because now we can just play it for free off of this Rebecca. We're gonna swing 6 with Kuzan. You could argue swinging 5 and 5, but I wanted to get all the 2Ks out of their hand, so I was thinking swing 6 minus 4 the Nico Robin, swing 6 minus 1, put it to 1 cost, and then Rebecca Brook, and KO the Nico Robin. Now they're just down to their leader. And we also drew into a Jack as well, and they're swinging 8 at face. This is a free block for us. I don't know what they're actually playing here for 5. Oh, that's right. They played the Nami, and they just killed the Kuzan. I think that was a misplay. I think they were supposed to kill the Brook, because I don't really have that many ways of KOing in the deck, but I don't think they know that. So in this case, I think I just end up swinging 5 and 5, or 5 and 6 and playing Jack, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, yeah, 5 and 5. Yep. And then we're just looking at our trash here. We have 3 Rebeccas in trash already. And we play the Jack, and we cycled into the 4th Rebecca, pitching the Hina, killing their Nami, and passing. They're already at 10 Dawn, 2 life. And this Uta has actually sat here and done nothing this whole game. But it is about to put in a lot of work, killing this Law in particular. We're already down to 2 life. They swung 8 again, not a big deal. I think we're doing fine. 2 life is normally where we sit pretty comfortably against these aggressive matchups. Here, I was just doing some quick math and debating on whether or not it was worth it to play Tempest Kick or not. And if you do the math really quickly, 2, 3, and 4 puts it to 3, because minus 2 from the Uta, 1 from Brook, 1 from Leader. So we could just throw a bunch of Dawn around and start swinging, and what is on board just kills the Law. But instead, I decided to just swing out, basically, and swing 6 here. I could have maybe put a Dawn underneath Brook and swing 5 and 5 instead, and then use the Jack to still kill, because I wanted to play Rebecca. I was supposed to pull back a 2k, but I didn't mill any, unfortunately, so I just pulled back a Kuzan, which that actually ended up not mattering, and then we play Sabo. So we did the classic Rebecca Sabo. So in this case, I feel like I should have gone 5 and 5, so 5 with Brook and 5 with Leader, and then we draw into actually 2 more 2Ks, and then I'm just going to pitch, I believe it was Hina and Tempest Kick. So again, it didn't really matter what I pulled back out of trash. The Kuzan was more just an, just whatever kind of card in case the game ended up going a little bit longer than I wanted to. But here he plays Zorajor, and Law, he pulls a Gum Gum and the Rocket Luffy, the one that pops, and then he swings down at life. This is another free block with Rebecca. And then I believe this turn we tried to go for game. Like initially in my head I was going to go for game, but I knew that it was going to be unlikely. So instead, I'm just going to clear board, get in for a bunch of damage, put him low on cards. So I minus with Uta first in case he has a trigger in life. Swing 6 with lead to minus the Zoro to 1, and then swing with Brook. And he actually dumped, I believe that was 3 1Ks to counter out of it. And then this is where I was debating, do I go for game or do I just try to clear his board more and develop? And I think it actually really didn't matter here. We were in such a good position. So I ended up just swinging 9 with Jack. And actually, I believe counter this? Yeah, because we knew about the Gum Gum. So he goes to 9 draws, I pitched a Brick, and then he pitched the Sanji. And then I swung 12, I wanted to guarantee that he was at 0 life. Again, that could have been optimized a bit better, I think, but it doesn't really matter. Like I said, my board is so crazy. I just counter out of this 5 at Brook, and then he goes Ace, kills the Sabo and heals. I don't really care. I just swing 9 with Jack, and then the rest would lead, and he concedes. And that was the first game. Okay, all right, moving on to the second game here. Let's make sure this is on 2x speed as well. All right. So now we're playing into Teach, and I fully believe that this is a bad matchup, but it's not unwinnable. We, I believe, are forced to go first. They chose to go second. And we didn't do anything on turn 1. I believe we actually kept this hand, though, because I thought it was fine enough. Like I said, I don't believe that this is a great matchup at all. It's probably definitely one of our worst matchups because all of our on-plays are turned off, which means that our vanillas, or sorry, all of our on-play characters are now vanillas, and then they have a Burgess, which we can't out. So at some point in the game, they're going to be swinging 9 and upwards of 12 for free, basically, and we just can't do anything besides swing into it. So this game, you know, I'm already checked out because I'm just playing into the worst matchup, and we actually milled over the one of Kaido, which is very unfortunate because we don't really have a way of getting it back. But at this point in the game, I'm feeling okay because they let me get to Rebecca, so I got to pick up a free card and play Hina, so now I have multiple bodies on the board. So next turn I can swing, but it's still not feeling great because boom, here comes down the Burgess. It felt a little early, but I can't do anything about it. It's just gonna stick there for the next 4 or 5 turns until they inevitably kill me. And at this point, I'm already feeling defeated, but I'm thinking maybe there's a chance that I can get him to 1 life this turn, or maybe even 2, and then on the next turn, I can, you know, potentially, get him to 0. But again, it's not likely. I'm just gonna get some cards out of his hand. So I just swing 5, swing 6. And I think I was just trying to develop the board a bit more. And we actually hit a trigger here that killed the Brook, so now I'm definitely not getting him to 1 or 2 life. And I said, just screw it, I'm just going to play Sabo, draw an extra card off Tempest Kick and pass. And again, at this point, I'm feeling very dejected. The Burgess is already at 7k, and I actually did not keep track of the amount of cards in his trash here. And on this next turn, we have a very unfortunate play that ended up happening. So we pulled the 2k out of life, and he plays another Burgess. But then he swings with this Burgess, which I thought was very interesting. And the 7 I take, and we pull an Uta. It's whatever, who cares? And we draw into another 2k. Great. Now we have a couple of 2ks to maybe live. But at this point, I'm thinking, okay, if I can kill this Burgess, set up a blocker, maybe we live. Didn't draw into a blocker, drew into another Brook. So we have like 3k of counter in hand. And, you know, they're just spinning their wheels. They actually drew into a Kuzan here off the stage, which I think this is what solidified the game for them, because if they whiffed on this search exactly, I could have maybe come back into the game. But I think even regardless, they were just always going to swing 10-10 here. At least that's what they should have done. But they swung 10 at me, and then they swung 5 at me, and I just hand them the Brook, and I say, okay, why am I still alive? Because then they play the Kuzan, they play the Burgess. So it's like, they were going to kill me that turn, but they just didn't feel comfortable going for game, which you could maybe argue is correct depending on the amount of 2Ks I have in trash. But regardless, they pitched the last card from their hand to make it so that I don't have on plays again for the very last turn in the game. And then, well, we just, you know, spin our wheels one last time, maybe looking for another blocker, but alas, here we are. And I believe we just kind of concede after this turn, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we like play a couple more cards and we just die. We explode. GG's opponent. On to the next one. All right, so the all-important game 3. This is actually a really, really good matchup for us. As of last set, I actually have not gotten to test a lot of Lucci versus Dofi because no one plays Dofi at my locals. So this was a first for me, actually. In like the week that I've been testing Lucci and playing on the sim, I really haven't played a lot against Dofi, but I felt comfortable enough playing Lucci and also playing Dofi, because that's the other deck I put a lot of time into, that I felt pretty comfortable in this matchup. So let's get started. I actually won the die roll, and I decided to go first. I don't know if that's correct or not. My theory is I want to play Brook on turn 2 and then follow it up with like double Uta plus the Brook, or some combination of this because of how the numbers line up. You can go like 2-2 or like 3-2, that kind of thing. So you can really be a little bit creative with it. And I got exactly what I wanted. I got 2 2Ks, Uta, Brook, Kuzan. So I couldn't have asked for a better hand, I think, especially in this kind of matchup. And then we top deck into a Tempest Kick, and he starts out exactly how I want him to start out. He plays the Teach. I'm going to play the Brook after minusing it with Lucci. And he actually gave me a 1K for his first life, which I thought was interesting. He actually gave me a Gecko Moria, which is fine. It's totally fine for us. He swings 5, not going for leader ability. Totally fine here. We get another Kuzan. He plays Gecko, passes. And I'm like, all right, we're going to kill this Gecko pretty easily. You know, we have 5 Dawn. I was just thinking about how I wanted to do it here. if there was any fancy tricks I could do, but I think it's pretty straightforward. We just play the Uta after swinging, of course, -1 leader, checking on trash every once in a while. We got a 2K and a jack in there is what I remember seeing. And he's thinking about countering again. Keep in mind, I have this on 2x speed. Opponent here thinking, they're taking their time, it's okay. And then we go Uta -3, and then we attach all, and we swing 7 with Brook and KO their Gecko. And I think they counter out of this one again. Yeah, they're down to 5 cards already, and they've used 3 Gecko Morio, so their grind game, their grind game is not going to be very good here because they're out of Gecko, so they can't really pull anything else from trash. But I do find out later that they're on 4. And they did find all 4 like within the top 15 cards or so, or top 10 cards actually. They didn't play like Perona or Sengoku or anything, but they did pull back the teach with the Gecko on the previous turn, and then they teach here, and they're thinking about what they want to put on the top. And then they put on the top, and then they go swing into Brook, and the Brook is dead, which I'm really scared about because I don't have another way to KO anything in hand that isn't Who's Who. So this Brook is dead. They're just thinking about how they want to put cards on the top with the Boa, and then we draw for turn into another Uta, so it's actually looking not awful because they're low on cards and we have double Kuzan. But they also have Teach established, and I don't have a way to get rid of it right away. So I'm thinking, okay, can I swing big and play Kuzan? No, not really. So I'm playing Kuzan and then just swing an 8 into the Boa and hoping that they either dump their hand for it or they just let it go. And I think they let it go here, yep, and then pass. So didn't really do anything complicated that turn. Going back to them, though, they kind of go in the tank a lot. Like I said, I think they're just either unfamiliar with the matchup or they might be just newer to Dofi, and that's totally okay too. They actually found the 4th Gecko and they pulled back the Boa. And I believe they go teach for Boa, play Boa, and we're just going to take it here, I believe. Around with Dofi, you kind of want to stay around like 3 life comfortably. 2 is when it gets a little scary because out of nowhere they could just spawn 4 bodies, or not 4 anymore, but like 2 to 3, especially in the late game. So I think here I was just debating on if I'm pitching or not, and he actually bounces my Kuzan back to hand, so I'm definitely taking this life. And we actually pull Rebecca here, so Rebecca Brook is really, really good. We have Spandine in hand, so I was praying to the gods that we hit a Lucci at any point in this game, and I think we go through like the first 30 cards before we find a Lucci. So he did not play the Boa that turn. He played the Law. So we are going to reduce the Law here, and then we go swing 6 in the lead, trying to get another 2K out of their hand because I feel like they should have none, and they did take it. And then I believe we just go like Rebecca Brook. Oh, but he hit a Red Rock in life, and he bottomed the Uta, which is great for us. And this is why you swing with leader. Use your like on character abilities first, and then swing with your leader. Because if they had bottomed the Red Rock there, it would have felt really, really bad. I could have played another Uta, I believe, but then I wouldn't have gone to play the Kuzan. So, but regardless, now they just have a teach on the board, and I still feel really good. I have another Kuzan in hand plus Uta and Sabo. Like I can still draw more cards and minus their small guys and like still feel fine. But then he grab blades me. He puts the Rebecca and something else on the bottom, and I don't remember what. The Kuzan. Yeah, you put the Kuzan and the Rebecca on the bottom, and he's just going to swing into this Brook and play another Boa, digging deep for cards. I don't know exactly what he's looking for in this type of position. But yeah, we're just going to take this, unfortunately. And then he swings 5 with the teach, which I think is a misplay. Like, he's supposed to just leave this standing. But he swings 5 here. I just counter out of it with the Laboon, because we don't really need Laboon in this matchup unless he plays like even like a Jozu is not too tall, but we draw into Kaido here, which is a big body and a way to trash characters on the board. So I was thinking, okay, screw it. I'm just going to kill this teach, basically guaranteed, and then play the Kaido. And then he has no cards on board. He's going to have 4 cards in hand. He's thinking about protecting this teach. Like, again, like I said, newer player. Maybe he's just new to the sim in general, and the buttons are a little dumb, which I totally understand. And then we drop it, and I think I ended up dropping the Uta here. Yeah, we dropped the Uta and we KO the Boa, and then we pass. And he dropped the 4th Gecko there, which I thought was funny. So now he's down to 3 cards after he drew for turn. He immediately Red Rocks. He knew exactly what he wanted to do with that, with his turn here. And then I think he just goes, I think he plays Perona here. Yep. And then swing 7, play off the top. Pretty straightforward here. And now it's looking a little bit, I don't want to say even, I'm not scared because like we're both at 3 life, but I have tons of cards in hand. But it's not a lot of action. Like I just really have Kuzan here, and this Tempest Kick is just gonna be another draw because like I just need to see more cards, and finding this Jack here was perfect because if I can establish this Jack and they can't out it, I'm feeling great because then I get to cycle and KO a guy every turn or swing like 8 for free every single turn. So I Tempest Kick, cycled, played Jack, cycled again. I think I just pitched an extra Kuzan here because I don't need it. Swing 7. He can have the Perona on the board. That's fine. And pass, we're both down to 2 life. I have a Jack on the board to his Perona, and he has 4 cards in hand to my like 6. So I'm feeling really, really good here. He just establishes another teach. And again, I can't really think of anything in his deck that he can do to scare me. So he does exactly what I expect him to do. Swing 12 into the Jack. And I said, you know what? I think I'm just going to counter out of this because if I defend this Jack, he can't kill it this turn. And I just win the game. Like this is just a snowball of advantage, and that's why I saved all my 2Ks. Is because I knew that a turn like this would happen if I found, a Jack, unless he had like another red rock. And we found a Brook here, which is actually phenomenal because more ways to KO small bodies is phenomenal. And I think that was the 3rd Rebecca, if not the 2nd at the very least. And we just go swing 5 minus the teach in case this Kuzan drew into a Rebecca. That's pretty much what I was looking for, or into a Lucci, because at this point, again, still haven't found a Lucci. And I'm thinking, screw it, I just want him to start dying, so I don't care about this Perona, and I just swing 8, and then I play Hina, kind of not wasting the Hina, but like, I was thinking if I have Jack, Kuzan Brook, and he goes Gravity Blade, and he Grav Blades like Kuzan Brook, then I at least still have 2 swings plus my leader. But I knew he had the Jozu on the top. He revealed it last turn, so I knew instead that he would just Jozu this Kuzan and then only have 4 Don to work with, so he was never going to swing over this Jack. So I felt really comfortable, playing the Hina last turn, because now I have 4 swings and he just dies. Like, there's no math to even do here. I could just swing pretty comfortably, swing 9, swing 14, and that's just game. And that's the power of Lucci. He just does Lucci things. So let's head into the post-game wrap-ups. Okay, so how did the deck feel? Did I get to show off everything that I wanted to? And is this what you expected? You filthy animal. You still want to play Lucci even though Gecko and Ice Age got banned? I'm just kidding. Lucci's great. This is a phenomenal deck. I actually have a really good time playing it. This is actually some of the most fun that I have playing this game. It's a control deck. It's also very combo-ish. You just do relatively basic addition. You look for a lot of patterns. This deck favors people who are able to accept that sometimes you just lose to variance. Sometimes you don't find the right combinations of cards, but also sometimes you just steamroll your opponents. You find the perfect curve and you go nuts. This deck has a lot of lines and a lot of potential. And I think this is a deck that shows a lot of skill expression because you can choose how you want to play different matchups. And sometimes one way is just more correct than others, but also sometimes you can risk it for the biscuit, get a little lucky, and hope that you hit the right card. Sometimes we do a little gambling. But all in all, I actually really like this particular list. I like the theory behind it. And overall, I think that Lucci is definitely here to stay post-ban list. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you have a different list, a different theory altogether, or if you just don't like Lucci. Let me know. And yes, I do know I'm not the best pilot, but today we were just here to test. We're here to learn. I'm more than happy to take any and all comments in the comment section below. I am just a guy, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Peace. Really quick, because I didn't say it in the actual video, shout out to Vampire Gaming. I'll put a link to his channel in the description below. And of course, huge shout outs to Elijah, aka OnePiece TCG Grinder. You guys are the best, and thank you so much for letting me use your clips and your list to test with. Thank you, Elijah. So thank you guys, and take care. Have a good one.